But even he could not foresee the coming of Ava Nadir. Okay, I'm trying to record here, and you're making that face again.
The player can skip this, right?
Oh, yes. The story is only my life's work, but by all means, skip to the last page.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the series Browsing Indies, where each week I'll be looking at 3 fairly unknown indie games and see if they deserve some more recognition. Our first game today is called The Magic Circle. You play a character in an unfinished game that's been in development for 20 years. During your playthrough, you keep encountering the creators, Ish and Maze, who can't seem to agree on basically anything. In the beginning, they keep pausing the game and by extension you, and you're forced to watch them argue about a number of different things. There are quite a few of these cutscenes in the first part of the game, and to be honest, at some point it became a little annoying.
Not unwinnable, but with no weapons it might as well be a cutscene.
But the graphics of the game look really cool, and I really wanted to see if it was as interesting as it looked. So I kept going, and once you actually muscle through the cutscenes and get into the actual game, it's pretty interesting indeed. You play as a ghostly character that's been deleted from the game, and this allows you to interact with other ghostly objects. Your goal is to actually complete the world in which the game is set in, and during your playthrough you're helped along by another, should we call it an entity, a character, and he gives you pointers on how things work and what you need to do. When a mistake is made during the game's development, energy gets trapped in the cracks, or in other words, coding errors, and you can gather this energy to use on other ghostly objects in the game, either to bring them back in case of inanimate objects such as bridges or buildings, or to alter them when it comes to living beings. If you have enough energy when you encounter another creature, you can trap it and then alter its stats, ranging from its name to its enemies and allies, even how it moves and what it attacks with. You can even take all the creature's behaviors and keep them in your inventory for later use on another creature. All in all, the concept of the game is really cool, and I will definitely be making a let's play of it in the future. The game can be found on Steam for $19.99. Now, I'm not sure if I'd be willing to pay the full price for this game, interesting as it may be, but on a discount of 50% or more, I feel like it's worth it. Spirits of Xanadu is an early access first-person horror game in its own unique way. You're not going to get your typical jump scares as in most horror games. It's not dark at all for the most part, and you can pretty much see all your enemies right in front of you. The story is that a research ship called Xanadu has been stuck in orbit around a planet somewhere near the edge of the known universe, and there has been no communication from the ship's crew for some time. You play as the brave person who has been selected to get to the ship and find out what happened. To do this, you need to wander around the ship picking up audio logs while avoiding enemy robots, and all the while finding ways to help your quest by doing side quests, let's say. One example of one of these side quests is where you find a fuse to turn on the lights in the level so you don't need to run around with your flashlight. There is no tutorial for the game, and I can tell you right now, you'll need patience. By the time you figure out how to avoid or kill your enemies and what your goal is in the game, you will have already died a number of times. In fact, it might get a little annoying at some point. But once you manage to get to that point, it starts getting interesting because you're no more focused on what the hell you're supposed to do to not die, but instead you start trying to figure out how to progress in the game. The atmosphere is weird, which makes it freaky, the enemies are difficult, and there is no hand-holding. You can't just press M to check the map and find an X showing you where to go for your next quest. You just go from room to room, area to area, and try to find clues. And if for some reason you fail to find the aforementioned fuse, for example, then you'll just end up playing the whole level in the dark. In fact, you probably won't even know there was a fuse to find in the first place. Spirits of Xanadu sort of reminds older games such as System Shock 2 and will bring back nice memories to people who had the luck of playing those games. Each playthrough can be different as there is no specific path to follow and each player can experience the game differently. In fact, there's a setting you can enable that makes the enemy robots passive so you can have more of purely explorative playthrough rather than a shoot 'em up one. You can get the game for $9.99, but I'd wait for a discount. I say this for most games I review not because they're not worth the cash, but because there's so many games available on Steam, literally tens of thousands. And there's always a discount you can take advantage of until you can find a deal for this one. If you're into weird sci-fi games, definitely check this one out. Interstellar is an exploration game where you play as a hovering robot car thing, or a dog V4 drone if you prefer, and your goal is to help finish building a base on Mars by running various errands assigned to you. According to the notes on the Steam store page of the game, it's around 15 minutes long in its current early access state, but that was the case some time ago, so the game's design has progressed a little more than that at this time. It was supposed to be finished in June of this year, but it's still in early access. Honestly, not much to say about the game other than it's set in an open-ish world environment. I say ish because there are areas in the game where it looks like you can go to, but can't. Invisible walls seem to be blocking the way. Not sure if that's something to be fixed once or if the game is completed, but it does take away a big part of the open world game part, which is actually one of its main features. During the 20 minutes I played the game, I had trouble figuring out where to find the exit I was told to go to, for the reason that your directions are go left through those doors to get to this area. And you don't know where left is because the NPC saying this might be looking at various directions depending on where you approached it from. Also, the signs or pointers showing you where each area is are written somewhere on the wall instead of using actual signs, and you end up strafing left and right looking at the walls instead of hovering forward in case you miss something. Once you do actually manage to get to where you're supposed to, you're given rather simple, pointless quests of the sort, get these 3 boxes and put them there. It feels like there's too much searching for things or areas and not enough stuff going on. It really does feel like it's an unfinished game, to be honest. Now, the game does look really good, and that's probably why the recommended specs include a GTX 970. Not so sure if the 2GB minimum of RAM would actually work though. At $3.99, it's not very expensive, but for that price or even less sometimes, you can actually get much better games. If you want to give it a shot either way, go for it. Maybe you guys see something interesting that I missed. Alright, so that's going to be it for now. Do you guys agree with these reviews? If you have any comments, by all means, please let your thoughts be known in the comment section below. Is there a game you like reviewed? Feel free to also include that in your comment. If you like my content and want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps out a lot. But that's going to be it for now. Thank you all for watching. This is the Bearded Gamer. Over and out.